Alright, this is just going to be a very quick installation setup guide thing on how to set up single player Tarkov. So if we actually go over to their page, you can see there's this SPT-AKI. This is going to be what you want, and it has some prerequisites. First one obviously is that you need to have the game. So if you don't have the game, you can go over to BSG's website, escapefromtarkov.com, and you can register and download and buy the game and all that stuff. And then you can install that. And you'll also need these frameworks here. So you'll need .NET Framework and you'll need .NET Runtime. And these are also just downloads. If you click them, they'll just give you the installers for them. Download and install those. You're also going to need 7-zip or some other sort of compression tool. The built-in Windows one doesn't support LZMA, so you don't want to use that. You can use 7-zip. I think some people have been able to use WinRAR. I personally use pzip, but for the purpose of this, we'll actually just download this and install this guy as well. So there we go. So now I've got 7-zip. Very cool. And so the first thing we're going to need to do is actually copy our live game to somewhere else. SPT uses the actual client from Escape from Tarkov. So if we open up our BSG launcher here, you can see that we have our version number, which we're going to want to make note of. I'm going to just sort of copy this quick with the flame shot here, and then if we go to settings, you'll be able to see your game directory, which is this, and if you click on this, it'll actually open it. So we're going to copy all of these files. I'm using Windows 11, so it's going to be this button. If you're on Windows 10, you'll have just a copy option, or you can just Control-C, and then I'm just going to make a folder, which I apparently already made one. Cool. But if you don't have one, you can just make a new folder, call it whatever you want, doesn't matter. And we're just going to paste these files in here. Alright, cool. So now we've got this SPT folder with a copy of our Tarkov game client, and we can now just kind of close out of the actual BSG launcher. We don't really need this anymore, and we know what our client version is. That's going to be very handy in a second. So on here you can see that the Escape from Tarkov version we need is 0.12.12.15.17349. That is not currently what we have. So before we can actually even install SPT, we need to downgrade our client files. So if we go back to the dashboard on the website and we come to AKI Patcher, we can use this tool to downgrade our files. This also has requirements, which is just .NET desktop runtime for .NET 6, which is one of the other prerequisites for the other things. So if you already installed this, you should be good to having Tarkov. And this has had issues with WinRAR in the past. So if you're using WinRAR, you may or may not have issues, but it might be fine. The instructions for this are very simple. You basically just extract the files into the folder and then you run the patcher.exe. It does note that your antivirus may cause issues during this process, but most people don't seem to have this problem. So we're going to ignore that for now. If we go to versions, we need to find the version for 179.75, which is this one, and it's going to the version for the latest release, which is this. So we're just going to click on this, and we'll get this confirmation box. And we can go to the link. Open up this guy. We'll have our patcher. We don't really need this version number anymore, but we can keep it to compare after this. So this is where you're going to want to use 7-zip or whatever extraction tool you have, and you're just going to want to extract this to a folder. And then in here, you'll have some files. So we can get rid of this download page for now. And we're going to go back to our SPT directory, and we're just going to copy the patcher and the patches into this SPT folder we created. Alright, done with that. And so now all we have to do is just run this exe, and this will take a little bit of time. It's got to apply quite a few things. Alright, so patching complete. You can delete patcher exe file. So we're just going to close out of this, and we can delete this file. And so now, if we actually look at Escape from Tarkov EXE's properties, and I believe it's under Details, we should now have file version 17349, which is not what we started out with. That's actually the version we need to run this release. At least it should be if I read all this right. Let's see. So we'll go back to SPT-AKI. Yeah, 17349. So now we have our client files, and we're ready to actually install SPT-AKI. And so all we need to do is click this download button here. There's also a version section where you can see the individual versions, but since we're good with the latest one right here, we're just going to click this download button, and it'll be another one of these confirmations. Alright, sweet. So it's going to be the same process with the patcher. We're going to just open this with, we're going to extract this with 7-zip to a different folder. And we're going to copy all of these files into our SPT directory. We can actually get rid of that, I think, for now. So we have our SPT directory, we have the files we need, and we're just going to copy these right into this folder. Fantastic. So now we should be pretty much set up. If we run the server exe, we should be able to see it's going to import the database. It's going to probably create some folders, and usually doesn't take too long. Alright, yep, there we go. Happy playing. And then we can run the launcher. Get this out of the way. And so here, we'll be able to see, well, the launcher, I guess. Something to note, if you're moving your files around, there's a game path in here that has the location to this folder. It uses to find the executable to run when you want to start the game to run SPT. If you do move your folder somewhere else, you may need to update this path. And there's some other options in here, like clearing out the registry keys and your temp files and stuff. But all we really need to do is register an account. And you can choose any of these options. It doesn't have to be your actual EFT edition. If you have standard, you can play on Escape from Darkness, Edge of Darkness. Words are hard. Just like this. Boom. And that's basically it. From here you can start the game or delete your profile. You can change your edition by clicking on this thing. This will wipe your profile, so if you already had one and you have data here, it's going to actually remove any of that data. But this is handy if you want to actually change your edition, or if you just want to wipe your profile. Yeah, so that's basically it. I guess I'll just start the game, screw it. That is basically that. All your stuff here. I'm obviously not going to actually play. I'm not particularly interested in that at the moment. But yeah. If for whatever reason you did need support, there's actually the support zone here, and then there's mods support, and then there's also general support. If you have an account and you're logged in, you should actually see a create thread option up here, and you can sort of create issues like these people have done. Alright, so if you wanted to install a mod, you could come back to the website, and there's a mods section, and we'll just grab the Fontaine's inspection list malfunctions, it looks like. Sounds pretty good to me. This is going to have an external link, so we're just going to go through with that, and we'll download this. This has a RAR file, so we should still be able to extract it with 7-zip, as we've been doing. And this looks like it has a BeepNX and user mods, so you could probably just dump these into your SPT folder, but these are actually the path inside the SPT folder that you would put these in. So this folder would go inside user mods. Actually, here, let's take a look at that. So we go back to our SPT folder, user, and then mods, and so that's just where this file needs to go. We'll just copy that over, and then there's a BeepNX and plugins, and so that would need to go into BeepNX and then plugins. So we can just throw this in here. You could have also have just copied these folders and dragged them into the main SPT window, and it would have just sort of added them in, but I just wanted to make sure that was clear. So now if we start the server, you should see loading mods. Hey, and look at that, inspection list malfunctions. Should get errors here if they're not working correctly. But that's pretty much that. I am not going to actually try to get a malfunction, but that is pretty much how you install SPT. Very cool.